Welcome to Gaming Dad 101, the show where gamers became dads and are looking for cheat codes. This is episode 73, and I hate my co-host Ricky.
With take two. Hi.
Yeah, take two. I'm not doing a take three, Ricky. This is enough. We can't keep doing this every week. This is it. This is the episode.
Okay, fine. I'll do my intro. What's going on, everybody?
That sounded so genuine. Thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Gaming Dad 101, everybody. If you're brand new to the show, remember that Gaming Dad 101 goes live each and every single Wednesday on podcast services everywhere.
Where?
Except for Spotify because SoundCloud sucks. Anyway, but we are on all other podcast services, working on trying to get on Spotify. And we are on YouTube each and every single Friday as a video for you to enjoy and consume and critique and positive Facebook comments, people. Everything's a work in progress.
Hey, I'm gonna give thanks to the few people that have gone over to YouTube and given us views over there. So
people have given us views if you've subscribed, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah. So I want to say thank you to all of you guys, and ladies, if there's ladies out there watching our videos as well. Yep. Give us a little bit of feedback. Do you like the show on a video concept? Let us know how that's going as well. That way we can get a little bit.
Do you think he's pretty? Do you think we can make it better, and how?
Exactly. So definitely reach out to us and let us know how that's going.
Oh man. So how's your week been going? We were talking a little bit before we started recording, and realistically, our week has been, who knows, based on the conversation we were having. It just kind of was. There's really nothing interesting that has passed this week.
No, not really. The only interesting thing that I can say. Oh, that's right. Well, kind of two things.
So can you say it or not? Because that was like a very big explosion of emotion for nothing at the end for them to be like, okay, well, maybe.
Second part is a little questionable, but I'll work around that. Okay. The first part, I did go see Captain Marvel. That was actually a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you ever review that movie in the other show, just let me know.
So I'm going to tell you the very sad, shameful secret of why Control C did not have a Captain Marvel episode. So Control C has not had a Captain Marvel episode because all of us in Control C who were psyched to see Captain Marvel forgot what the release date was for Captain Marvel.
Really?
Right? I am not even joking. So Captain Marvel came out and the entire cast sent each other text messages going, what the hell? Weren't we covering this? And it's like, no, apparently not anymore. Yeah. So welcome to a little insight as to why Control C did not have an episode for Captain Marvel for opening weekend. I'm sure we will at some point.
Okay. Well, I will say I did not cry in this movie. My expectations were highly placed because of the way that everybody spoke about the one little spoiler that I'll give about the Stan Lee tribute.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't as... Everybody made it sound like it was going to be more sentimental, and it really wasn't.
Maybe it's because you have no heart, Ricky.
Probably.
Have you thought about that?
I mean, it is pretty icy in there, even though I have a wife and 2 kids, but, it's really warm for them.
The climate is just all over the place.
I guess. It's the Florida, it goes ice, hot and cold, Really bad punt, but hey, it's okay. I'll live with it.
Yeah.
Now, and then that was on Friday night, and Saturday, I have spoken that I do have a 9 to 5 job outside of the show. So I ended up going to one of my coworkers' home. He decided to invite us over.
Nice.
And I will say this person's home is like a freaking awesome museum. And when I mean a freaking awesome museum, this man probably has over 3,000 collectible figurines, statues, toys, mini collectible.
So who is this person? How do I become their best friend? And why was I not invited? And why couldn't I have gone? I have a camera. I'll turn off the flash, but I need pictures.
We'll send you pictures. I actually did take some pictures.
Did you?
Yes.
Sweet.
And this person, it's like on every single corner of his house, there's some kind of figurine, toy, on it, but he has it to where it doesn't make you feel crowded. It's everything is super clean. Everything he keeps everything dust free. So he does an awesome job, maintaining his collection. And
I
you,
want one. I want
dude, and yes, I don't know if he invites me one day again, to come over. I'm asking him if I can bring you along, dude.
Please do.
You're
Because
gonna
you
be so
see,
overwhelmed.
yeah, there's some of my collection there. There's some of my collection right behind me if you're watching the video. And then there's the other collection that I hide with my back, and that's because my kids like to play with that part of the collection. So they're not the way they should be. And then there's my collection over there, which is also all over the place because they like to play with all those too. So
No,
it
yeah.
would be nice to go somewhere where your collectibles are actually appreciated as collectibles. It'd be nice, just a little
No,
bit.
no, yeah. Like this person's his home is freaking awesome, and I mean, there's no.
I love how you're sending me stuff as we're recording. And I feel really bad for both the podcast listener and the YouTube watcher who is not seeing any of this. But you're gonna have to share these on the group. I think you need to do a post on the group and just be like, "Oh my God, this was amazing."
I'm gonna ask.
Don't tag the person, but
No, I'm gonna ask permission first, to be honest, if he
that's
lets
fine.
me. But dude, I don't know. I think I sent you like 20
Oh,
different pictures.
Jesus.
And dude, his house is phenomenal. I fell in love with his house. I will admit it. I didn't admit it to him, but I will
How
admit it
does
here on the show.
like here's the thing, like this there's a room that just has like a whole mess of like fan art and paintings, and like there's not even enough room for the paintings. There's some of them that are just like on the floor, but even then they look like awesome on the floor. Like what the hell, man?
No, yeah, he has it nicely organized. It looks awesome. His place looks freaking awesome.
That is freaking
And
sweet.
when I mean that, he's got at least a good 3,000 collectible figures
Yeah, for
in
some
his
reason I
home.
feel like that's undercutting it a little bit. I don't think that that's
I
enough.
I pretty much, they're
All right.
probably correct. But yeah, that was my weekend. I yeah, for the most part.
That's man, it must be nice to be able to get all those things and not lose all that money. But unfortunately, we're not like that, Ricky. Unfortunately, every week we have a segment called "Reasons Why We're Broke." So please, why are we broke this week,
This
dude?
week.
Don't tell me that segment was not on point. That was perfect. That was like hosting 101. That was beautiful.
Hey, you come o-
Execution,
you
A
come
plus.
you come over to learn. That what can you do? We are here to teach when are perfect segues to everything. So I'm gonna go. The reason why we're broke this upcoming week is because Shakiro Shadow Die Twice is releasing this Friday the 22nd, and that's technically the only game that's coming out.
So in other
Um,
words, this week we might afford some food or something. Got it.
yeah, yeah.
Sweet. All right. Are you
Yep.
getting it? Are you getting Sekiro?
Um, I'm debating on it. I'm actually very interested in this game. I will admit it. I'm actually very interested in thinking about getting it. But I've been playing the Division 2, and I will admit, I know I've down talked it multiple times, and I know you didn't get your pre-order, you canceled it,
Yep.
but I never played the demo, but I will say the Division 2 full game, it has a way better balancing system
All
than
right,
the
so
prior
let's
one.
go ahead. We're kind of muddying waters here since started talking about Sekiro, but let's go ahead and go into the Division Two. So, what did you think about it? So, because
Uh
again, you knew what my expectations was, and you know why my reasons for playing us for not playing it was. We actually had Rob from Bits for You reached out to me. He goes, "Dude, I listened to your episode. I just got it for PlayStation 4. Tell Ricky to get it, and I'll play with you guys, and then that way you guys can enjoy it." Because I think my schedule is similar to yours, and that way we can actually do it. I was like, you know what, that might not be a bad idea. Let me think about it. So I've been going back and forth on it again. So on your experience, you've done it on PC, right?
yes, thank
Well,
you.
for starters, how did you get it? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
get that.
giving thanks to Juan Chavez. He gifted it over to the show once more, and he provided us with a Division 2 copy, and it's for PC. The balancing when it comes to bullet sponging is actually a whole lot better than the original Division.
Is it?
Oh yeah, to me it is. At least
Okay.
I've noticed it right away. And it makes a big difference on what weapon you're using. There's
Mhm.
some weapons are stronger than others. So
Well, that
for
makes sense.
for example, if you have a lighter weapon, yes, you're gonna go through some clips, to just kill the red color enemies, which are your normal standard enemy.
Hmm.
And then there's some weapons that I truly only shoot them twice with two bullets and they're completely down.
Oh wow.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
that's pretty neat.
Oh yes, no, yeah. Depending on the weapon, it with two bullets they're down. So that
Okay.
already made me feel a whole lot better than in the game. When it comes to the purple level enemies and the yellow level enemies, I'm not there for 20 minutes trying to kill them. It actually just takes me about a good 5 minutes of shooting them and they're down instead of the 20-minute fights that you used to have back in the day.
Not
Um,
bad.
so yeah, no, it's super fun. Everything that you're doing to the enemy, any kind of damage, anything bombs related, heavy weapon, you can actually see the differences on this game.
Sweet. Well,
Um,
that's really well. First of all, thank you very much, Juan, for gifting us that. Very much appreciated. I'm sure I'll sit down and check it out and play a little bit more, play a little deeper on it once I go over to Ricky's house and borrow his PC. But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And like I said, it's one of those cases where I've always loved the game, and my
Mhm,
biggest problem is how much people play that game because it is a very addicting game. And I've
mhm.
sat down and I've actually played from morning to night, straight through with my friends when I did the first one. But we go back to the fact that because of my schedule being so complicated, these games of service just don't give me. I don't have the time to level up with everybody, so I always end up frustrated because I'm left behind. Everybody's overpowered. All the enemies are powering to their level caps, so therefore I'm underpowered for pretty much every mission. I'm always having to be rescued and all that stuff, and it makes me like I'm not the best video game player when it comes to first person shooters. I'm not the best out there, but dude, I'm not that bad. And it makes me feel like I am that bad, like horrible bad. You know what I mean? And it's one of
Yeah.
those like it doesn't make it enjoyable for me. So that's been my biggest gripe with it. But I'm glad to see that at least
Yep.
it's kept up and it's been enjoyable.
Yep. So far, it's been super enjoyable. I've had the privilege of playing with some people that just randomly joined my group. Because once you go through a mission and you die or whatever, you can actually request for helps, and people can actually just like Monster Hunter World. Whenever you die, you can actually request for assistance to come in. Eventually, somebody can come in and help you through the mission. What I did notice is that they do double up on the enemies whenever you're playing with multiple people, than whenever you're playing by yourself. So you do get a little bit overwhelmed with the enemies. But besides that, again, it's pretty easy to go through. And then I had the privilege to test out the new Dark Zone system that they have.
Okay, so tell
And
me a little bit more about this because I did not I was never a fan of the Dark Zone. It was always a
I
pain in the
wasn't
butt for
either.
me.
Yes, I
Okay,
agree.
so is it better? What's the difference? What's
Yes,
the big deal with it now?
there's three different zones for Dark Zones now on the
Okay.
map. You have the east, south, and west areas for Dark Zone.
Okay.
Once you go in there, you no longer, or how can I put this? Not every item that you collect in the Dark Zone has to be extracted.
Okay.
So the
How do you know which one does and which one doesn't though?
So anything that you're killing off an NPC of the game, so in other words, you're killing an enemy that's computer generated,
Okay.
and they drop their gear and whatever, and you pick it up, you can actually just walk out the dark zone with that gear, and you will not lose it.
Okay.
Any items that you find, so in other words, if you find like a crate or whatever and you loot that crate and that crate has a weapon or any kind of piece of armor or whatever, those are the items that you would actually have to extract.
Okay. Does it still alert everybody when you're trying to
uh
extract?
I'm not sure if it alerts everybody because I didn't nobody came and attacked me, so I don't know if it's because it's a new game still. Not many people were in the dark zone except for the extra NPCs themselves.
Okay.
But yes, you do have NPCs that do come in waves to try to take you down while you're trying to extract.
Ugh.
But for normal players, I'm not sure if they get alerted at this time.
See, that's the part that I hated about the Dark Zone is the fact that you fight all these people, you manage to scrape through, and then at the very last second, as you're putting your gear in the freaking rope, you get shot in the head and you're done. No, I'm not a fan of that mechanic. I just busted my ass for 3.5 hours, got shot in the head, and I didn't even get to make it back in time to reclaim any of my crap because guess what? It was taken. So yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the Dark Zone. Never been a fan of the Dark Zone.
We'll see what happens once I get to play with more people, and if you come over, we'll get to play in the Dark Zone and see how it goes. But yeah, no, so far I'm actually enjoying the game, surprisingly enough.
All right, not bad. Well, once again, thank you, Juan, for gifting us with that game so we can check it out and basically play it. Let us know. I'm sure Ricky will have some time to play. Hit him up and be like, bug him until he plays with you and then destroy him. Let's go ahead and get into the news now. Over on Kotaku, reported by Ethan Gach, we have some news for the Halo Master Chief Collection. I'm going to go ahead and read an excerpt for the article. Quote, Halo the Master Chief Collection will soon include Halo Reach and be available on the Windows Store and Steam. Microsoft announced today during its Inside Xbox live stream. So I was actually toward the end of last week. Rather than make every game in the collection available all at once on PC, Microsoft said the collection will roll out one at a time, starting with Halo Reach and going in chronological order from there. Microsoft is pitching this incremental approach as a way to make the games available sooner rather than waiting until the entire collection is ready. The games are going to be played at 60 frames per second and support 4K. Now, the Xbox One Halo Reach multiplayer is going to be available as a free add-on for everybody who already owns the collection. However, the single-player campaign is apparently going to cost extra, and we don't still have a release date. Interested? Not interested? Do you think it's a smart move? Do you not think it's a smart move? Because with this whole Xbox Play Anything Anywhere, and we'll get a little bit further into everything that they talked about in GDC, they are basically kind of shooting to try to get everything that is Xbox related on pretty much anywhere and everywhere you can get it, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, no, that's smart because excuse me, you're opening the game now to more players to play, for those people that are PC, only gamers.
Hmm.
Halo itself, it's an awesome shooter game. It's an awesome game overall. It's one of the more popular known games for the Xbox. So I'm excited. That is one collection that I wouldn't mind picking up for the PC. Because if I love playing it on the Xbox itself,
Hmm.
I can only imagine now playing it at 4K, 60 frames per second. Oh my god,
On keyboard and mouse.
do you know how beautiful that game is gonna look?
I do. I'm a little upset for the simple fact that I just recently we were trying to play the Halo games on PC. It was 2 months ago or something, and
Something
I
like
wasn't
that.
able to join because none of them were on. So I'm glad to see that they're finally coming on. I'm like, it sucks that once again it's this late. Now that I've canceled my pass, whatever, that can be easily fixed. However, I think it's great. And again, we go back to the fact that Microsoft is going out of their way to get pretty much everything that they can that is Xbox related everywhere. So it's a smart move. I can't wait for people who haven't played those games to try it on the PC. I know that people have been wanting them for a long time. So it's an awesome announcement. Very much looking forward to that. And it's one of those games that have been very much anticipated, very much like what we're going to talk about in this next article. And over the tease, a Gearbox last week posted a cel-shaded highway picture on their Twitter with a sign that has had a Borderlands-style desert in the words March 27, Boston, MA, which is essentially the date of the conference where they are going to have an announcement. But everybody looking at this image looks like it's Borderlands 3. The rumor is that it's Borderlands 3. Garrett Schneider, our listener and dear friend of the show, is out there going, please let it be Borderlands 3. He's been super excited since they've been hinting rumors for over a year, and you don't understand. Almost every time we talk about Borderlands, I get a message from Garrett going, dude, when are they going to announce it? So, based on this, possibly on the 28th, are you excited? Did you see the image? Do you think it's
Yes.
Borderlands? Because I looked at it and I was like, there's no way in hell it's anything but Borderlands,
It looks just like it. I mean,
right?
they do have the
Similarities uncanny.
yeah, the Borderlands desert theme-ish. They have what is that? The Sci-Pat, whatever it's called, the Sci-Cell image painting style. I forgot what the proper name is, but
Cell shaded.
yeah, the way that they do it, it looks legit
Yeah,
for
that thing, whatever it's called. I don't care what. Yeah,
that.
that thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
that thing.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's right. Uh, but yeah, no, I don't. If it's not, I'll be freaking surprised. I'll just say that.
All right. So something to look forward to on PAX East. Another thing to look forward to, something that I'm actually very excited about. I didn't realize how excited I was going to be until I like read into it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" We got more news from Hello Games, creators of No Man's Sky. As you know, No Man's Sky came out, and it was basically considered a disaster by a lot of people because there was a lot of things that were missing. I was actually one of the few people that was happy with the game because it kind of, with the exception of a few things, it gave me everything that I was expecting. But then again, I wasn't expecting um, too many things. But the one thing, the biggest thing that they didn't have that did bug me was the multiplayer aspect. Because I was really hoping that even though it was the way it was described, it was going to be almost impossible to find your friends out in the galaxy, but I still wanted that. There was still that possibility. There was still that glint of hope and glamour. Well, we got an update. Essentially, Hello Games is announcing the next chapter called Beyond, and it's going to be available for a free download this summer. It's apparently a part of a three bundle update, which includes what they announced today, which is No Man's Sky Online. So apparently, this is the quote that they gave: "Is a new social and multiplayer experience that allows players across the in-game universe to meet and play together." However, they don't want you to call it an MMO for some reason. And the new online experience won't acquire. And here's the best part. This is the part that like psyched me up. It's not going to require a subscription. All right. It's not going to have microtransactions, and it's going to be free for all players, according to the developer. Now, some people are going that was something else. According to some people, there is like there's the whole speculation of, oh well, this all the lies and all the things that we went through and blah 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 blah. I don't care. Point is, they've busted their butts since this game has come out to improve it. When they came out with Next, there was a major improvement on the game, and a lot of people went back, and a lot of people have enjoyed it, myself included. So I can't wait to see this. I know that my oldest just recently started playing it. Now he started playing the survival mode aspect to it. But if we can play it together online, I think it would be a lot more interesting. And it's one of those games that my wife as well has been looking into and been wanting to play it with somebody. The problem with No Man's Sky is that even though you're exploring all these new territories, it still feels very lonely. So to have somebody that you know to ride with you, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, no, every single time that you do play with somebody, it makes any experience that much better than when you are playing by yourself. Just because in a game like No Man's Sky being so massive and where you can, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you can take hours just to get to another area that you're looking for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Depends on how far you fly, depends on what you're trying to do, depends on your goal. The beautiful thing about No Man's Sky is that if you're a person who likes to explore a lot of new things, there's a lot of content for you in that aspect in terms of exploring and naming. One of the biggest things that my kids enjoyed really when I was playing it was the whole naming aspect. So we would like discover a new animal, and I was like, all right, what do we name it? You know, and then it became a matter of, all right, let's figure out what its name is, what we call it. Are we calling this one by one name, but like what's the name of the species? What's all of this stuff? So that,
Chuchi!
sure, why not? So it's one of those that's part of what the excitement was. So I'm really much looking forward to this. I'm really much looking forward to being able to play it with other people and expanding that universe to make it feel more alive. Because that's what I'm looking for. So I'm very much curious as to what's going to happen. Now, with that curiosity fuels the mind. Thinking about going to college, we have a scholarship for you. Dude, my segues are on point today.
I mean, let's make sure we clear this thing out.
I know, right?
We don't personally have the scholarship.
We don't have it. We have a link for you. Or
Exactly.
we have
We'll
it.
let you know where to go.
We'll let you know where to go. But Becker College has announced a scholarship program that is actually going to be tied to esports, and it's actually being tied to Apex. And players are going to be receiving over $5,000 for schooling. Apparently, they've teamed up with Team Genji and Helix Esports for the program, and they're hosting the Apex Legend Amateur Tournament in New Jersey early this April. And there, of course, they're going to be offering it to the best players out there. Beautiful thing about this is one, interesting how much attention esports are getting to where now schools are offering scholarships for things that not long ago were being called non-sports. So it's very interesting that the colleges are starting to get involved in this way and starting to put teams together. Clearly there's a lot of prize money to be won. So this is only going to help esports become bigger, which is awesome. The other cool thing is that here's the venue. Anybody who's been playing this game, here's an avenue for you to kind of go that route if you'd like. But the other cool part about it is the fact that Apex Legends just came out. What was it, a month ago?
Something
So
like that,
and
roughly.
now we're already talking about Apex on an esports level. We're already pushing for an esports level. We're already like looking for esports teams for this game. Like that's how hard this game hit. Like, you mean to tell me that after Fortnite had cemented itself the way that it had, Apex is now essentially big king on the hill? Is that what's happening? Because that's kind of what it feels like.
The fun part about it is, don't forget, Apex is just a beta. So imagine if they
Well,
decide to.
technically speaking, so is Fortnite still.
Yeah, but Fortnite has a lot more time to be developed into a beta, and to this point, I really don't even think that Fortnite itself it's even a beta. I think
It's
it's just it's
yes.
stand. No, yeah, I think the beta portion was mainly the main single player game, and this is just something else for them. But no, like you said, it's only been a month and it's already being considered for freaking esports. Again, America's now coming around considering scholarships for kids
Dude, it's
because of
awesome.
esports.
I wish we
I'm
could have told ourselves when we were younger, hey man, it does get better. Because man, what it would have been like all of the things we used to get picked on when we were
Mhm.
kids for, all the things that people used to think were stupid or a waste of time, are coming around to be like the pretty awesome things. Yes, I love that shirt. Ironically enough, I wore that shirt like 2 episodes ago.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, I looked at it today and I was like, I wore that shirt. I was like, no, I'm pretty sure I had that 2 episodes ago. And I went and I checked. I was like, yeah, I did have that shirt 2 episodes ago. I'm not going to put that. That just looks weird. I need a different shirt every week. So, all right, let's go ahead. So, if you're interested in that scholarship, go check it out at Becker College. But moving on, we are going to go into some of the stuff that Microsoft has been announcing. What we were talking about, Microsoft has officially shown off their xCloud service, and that they're developing, and it's basically a streaming service. Is what it is. What it boils down to. They're it's similar to. I guess it's similar to PlayStation Now. I think that's the most comparable thing because you're
Hmm.
streaming the games, isn't it? So,
From my understanding,
it
yes.
yeah, from our understanding, is what they're doing. Um, Kareem Chaudhry, which is the cloud gaming chief officer, indicated that apparently he's quoted as, "We're developing a project xCloud not as a replacing for game consoles, but as a way to provide the same choice and versatility that lovers of music and video enjoy today." So it seems to be that this xCloud service is not necessarily going to be the streaming console that we've been thinking, that it's just a one console. It seems to be more of a service that's going to go across
Hmm.
multiple platforms, which explains their whole Xbox Live going multiple platforms, which is also one of the other news stories where now Xbox Live is actually going to be able to be integrated with iOS and Android devices.
Xbox
So
handheld.
Ricky, you're touting this Xbox handheld, and I promise you, if it like, dude, if it happens, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Like, it's that would be interesting,
World
and
domination.
So anyway, so Xbox did go ahead and announce their xCloud service, and they demonstrated it and everything. But of course, Google wasn't going to take that sitting down. So Google actually announced today on Tuesday, the what day are we on? The 19th.
19th.
All right, this is the day before the episode goes live. Google went ahead and announced their streaming service called Stadia. Stadia, how do you pronounce it?
I say Stadia.
Stadia, okay. So Stadia, where essentially you're going to be streaming games from the cloud on a Chrome server, Chromecast, and Pixel devices, which is launching at some point this year. So like it wasn't even like we're prepping you for next. No, it's some point this year. We still don't have a final date, but it's going to come out in the U.S., Canada, UK, and Europe. They demonstrated the feature where it's essentially going to let you watch a clip. So let's say Ricky and I start streaming a game, you watch us on YouTube, you're going to be able to click a link that says play now, and you're instantly going to get to that title. So you're going to be able to play that game just from watching us stream it and then jump right into it. um, they demonstrated moving gameplay so that basically gameplay transferring from a phone to a tablet to a TV, basically all Google devices. And then we finally did get confirmation on the controller. Last week we had the specifications for the Google controller. We saw what the patent would look like. We saw what the 3D renders that were out there were looking like. This week we see what it actually does look like.
Came in close.
Is a what? It did come pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, the rendering came out pretty damn close.
Kind of. Like I can see it. Like not as boxy though. Definitely more. It looks more like a Switch Pro controller when you look at it.
Yeah.
Like the way, like the comparison. I know last week we compared it to the Xbox, but realistically, like if I'm looking at it closely, it reminds me more. Yep, it reminds me more of the Pro controller for the Switch, but with bigger handle grips. So it looks interesting. It looks pretty awesome. What I'm most excited about is the whole aspect of um, being able to play the game anywhere, being able to play it on your phone and all that. I don't know whether we're ready for a streaming future, whether this is going to take off. That's what's going to be interesting. I think that we are headed in that direction, but I kind of feel like VR, we're not necessarily there yet. You know, it's one of those where VR was coming out and it sounds great, and even I've wanted it VR since the day it came out. However, I knew that it was going to be niche. I knew that it was going to be these specific titles, and I know that it's still very much in its infancy. So I'm kind of like cautiously curious about it, but it sounds more like it's going to be that Netflix style thing that everybody was talking about. And it was just going to be like like you pay for the service, but the prices haven't been given. The release date hasn't come out yet. They haven't said how much the controllers are going to cost. But here's the part that I find interesting. It's not going to work USB. It's not going to work Bluetooth. It's actually the controller works based off of Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually.
So it has its own Wi-Fi.
See, and the thing about this is, it's an awesome concept because that's really what it is right now. Yes, you've unveiled it and everything. You haven't given us all of the information. There's still a lot of unknowns. Like, okay, how is this going to be a subscription basis? Is this going to be a website that I'm going to have to go to register? Is this going to be an application?
It's probably going to be an app. Like I don't know if you use it, but I do. The Google Remote Desktop. It's an extension that goes through your Chrome browser, but it's like its own separate app that you just install, and that's how it runs. So I'm thinking that it's probably going to be something like that. And if you go to your to your Chrome browser, they've had for a while games that you can install on your Chrome browser. So I'm thinking it's just going to be something to that extent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just going to need Chrome. It's interesting.
I wonder, cause okay, I get it's gonna be the controller's gonna connect via Wi-Fi. I understand that. I want to know exactly what technology this controller is actually going to have built in. We already know it has its own built-in microphone.
Yes.
So if you click on the Google Assist button, you will be able to ask for assistant on a specific area of a game.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's going to somehow link to the internet. and just search something relevant.
I mean, it's already connected through Wi-Fi, and there's no reason why it won't have assistant. Like, I mean, I have a Google Dot here in the room with me, so it's one of those cases
Hey
where
Google.
luckily it can't hear you. Very funny, Ricky. Sorry for anybody whose Google Ricky just activated, because ironically enough, you laughed, but about a year and a half ago, we did a show where I did that and I activated anybody who was listening. It activated theirs, so I won't do it this time. And I apologize if Ricky set it off,
Hey
but yeah.
Siri.
What a jerk! What a freaking jerk!
My turn on.
Yours turned on.
My friend Dumber.
That's ridiculous.
Shut up.
So you were saying like the thing with
No,
Google,
yeah,
man. It sounds
yeah.
interesting.
No, it sounds very interesting. Like I said, I'm very curious to see exactly what technology is behind the controller, because this controller is going to have a lot of functionality for just being connected over Wi-Fi. You know, you're going to be have the capability of capturing whatever you're playing. You're going to be able to capture, I guess, a moment within the game, understanding what items you have at that specific moment, what life level you have, to be able to be transferred over via a link, if I'm understanding everything correctly from what I read, and being able to just pick up that link in a different device and continue playing from where you're at. That already involves a lot of technology behind it, at least to me. I don't know. It could be
But
something
does
as
it?
simple.
But does it, or is it like an account that your account will run it and you're
Well,
just tapping into it? So think of it this way. Think of all you're doing is plugging a new TV into the same PlayStation. And that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. So I don't necessarily think that it's that much technology in the controller itself. What I'm most curious about is the price, and the piece of technology that I'm concerned about is the Wi-Fi aspect of it.
hmm
It's
I
how
mean,
is that going to connect? Is that going to be reliable? It's, you know what I mean, all
yeah,
sorts of things.
that
And
controller is easily going to be around 60 to, I don't know. I want to put it
probably
around 60 to,
$70.
yeah, $60 to $80 is where I'm gonna safely put this remote,
Okay.
because a remote that, again, Xbox, PlayStation remotes that barely do anything but connect to a direct console, to a single console, already cost $60. You're talking about this not actually connecting to any device, which also makes me even think, because through the announcement they said that you are going to be able to connect Joy Cons, you're going to be able to connect your you know your PlayStation controller, your Xbox controller.
Hmm.
You're going to be able to connect to multiple, your own personal controller to this. So what am I connecting to? There has to be some kind of a device, because yes, while the Google controller is going to have Wi-Fi capability, the regular controllers don't. They have Bluetooth capability, and which actually surprises me even more. Xbox has a proprietary Bluetooth connectivity that not many devices even connect to. So again, there's a lot of missing information that we don't have at this moment.
Well, at this point, I think Google just saw what Microsoft was doing. Microsoft was
Yeah.
trying to get to the punch first on the story, and Google was like, "Nope, not having it. Here's all what we have. Here's what you need to know now to
Yeah.
show that we are on the verge of the same thing, and ours looks better, or whatever the case may be." All I know is that so far, based on tests and based on the videos we've seen, it looks like Google's works smoother than Xbox's.
Yeah.
But every analyst that I've listened to and read is talking more about the fact that because of Xbox's 30 years in both consoles and computing, that realistically they should have the edge over Google. We will see. I know what I like about Google is their whole mentality of they're bringing gaming to everybody. Like that's what their motto is, and that's what it seems to be. Their purpose is to make gaming accessible to everybody, anywhere,
hmm
anytime. That's pretty sweet and pretty awesome.
Yep. With that said, my question to you is, again, they haven't spoken about prices or anything. With this kind of service that you're going to be able to, essentially a Netflix style service. How
Hmm.
much are you willing to pay for this?
Willing to pay is a tough thing to say
Okay.
because
Where do you think they're going to price it at?
here you got to remember, I'm one of the people that thinks we should pay more for video games. I have that unpopular opinion,
No, yeah, I
but
understand that.
I think if they want people to give it a shot, if they really truly want people to try it, you cannot you cannot price it above 9.99 a month if it's like a monthly service. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because and I don't think that's the final price. I think that needs to be the introductory price. You need to set it low enough for people to not feel like they're risking too much money
Hmm.
so that they're willing to invest into it and give it a shot. Part of the reason why I think Netflix took off the way that it did is because their membership, especially for streaming, was very low when they first started.
Hmm.
Granted, they were taking hits, but look at, it's increasing year after year. So I think that would probably be the smarter thing. So I think realistically what they will come out with would be something around 9.99 a month, simply because I don't think consumers in general in mass would be willing to pay more. Personally, what I would pay for a service like that, it would depend on the games lineup, which that's another thing that we haven't gotten into yet. They announced that they're having their own studio. So Google announced the name of their excuse me, own first party studio who's going to be developing games exclusively for this platform. And of course, they showed a whole mess of other partners that are going to be helping them through that. But it really depends on what the number count of games are. How many games do they have? What type of games that do they have? Realistically, if you tell me right now, any game coming out here forward, that is multi-platform will be available on this thing, I would probably pay in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 bucks a month. But I'm talking about access to basically everything. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like
No, yeah.
to pretty much with the exception of first party exclusives, I want access to everything. Realistically, 15 to 20 bucks to me seems like a fair price considering what you're getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
But we go back to the fact that if you tell anybody that this is more than 9.99, they're not it's going to be hard for people to adopt it. It's going to be hard for people to say, let's try it. If they're going to say it for more than 9.99, they're going to have to come out with something along the lines of, try it for 3 months for $5 or whatever. You know what I mean? They're going to
yeah.
they have to have an introductory period where they're charging a low amount of money, and their gains may not be that much at first. But what I like about Google is that they're smart enough to know we may take a hit right away, but if we do this right, it's going to bring
Hmm.
everybody in. One of the biggest things is right now, you're telling me, think of it this way. You're telling me that I could play pretty much every game with the exception of first party titles for 20 bucks a month without having to buy a console. All I have to buy is a 60, 70, 80, let's make it expensive, $100 controller. That's all. That sounds pretty freaking awesome. We're not
Yeah.
we're not having to go out and buy $500, $600 boxes plus $60, $70 additional controllers plus 60, 50, $50, $60 games, that sort of thing, plus microtransactions and all this crap. All I have to do is buy a controller and that's it. Sweet, dude. Sign me up,
Yeah.
Like it sounds awesome.
Yeah, and for the most part, I agree with you on the price ranging. Yes, I can say that I can probably agree with you. Starting off price being something around the 9.99 functionality or monthly service for this, but just thinking, and this is just me thinking more in depth into it. You're talking about
Hmm.
all of these games are apparently going to be running off their server, their data center.
Yep.
So you're already talking about games themselves take a lot more space than video files than movie. Obviously,
Yep.
they're a
Correct.
lot bigger. So their data center is going to have to be a lot larger than a Netflix servers, obviously, because again, they're just a lot more data behind it.
I mean, it
So I
depends
can,
on compressing and all that stuff, but yeah.
yeah, but I can see this easily being priced at least 14.99. So
You think so?
15. Yes, I can
Uh-huh.
I can easily say that this a fair price for this could potentially be
And I agree.
14.99.
$15 is a very fair price.
It
My
is.
mentality is just behind the whole people don't want to pay. People people want the
I
$100
mean,
value for $5, and that's the problem.
but think about this though. EA Origin, that's exactly what they're technically charging at the moment, and I believe they're one of the more expensive streaming services out there at the moment, or at least you get to download the game. But if I'm not mistaken, their base price is 14.99. So if they're doing it at that price, and you still have people subscribing to Origin, EA, I can
But
already
you also
see it
got
in
to
your
think of it this
face.
way, like, but is it really a bargain? I mean, EA Origin is being offered to Xbox players, and I think Xbox did it just so that they can say, we care about the players, here's everything we can do. But PlayStation flat out turned it down.
Yeah, no,
PlayStation
that's
looked at EA and was like, this is pointless. This is not going to help anybody. Nope, we're not doing it.
no, yeah,
So, you know what I mean? It's one of those where, and I think that part of that was the price is the value is $15 is fair if you're getting the content that you're being told. For
hmm
EA, iffy, but $15 would be a fair assessment if
yep,
it does deliver on what they're talking about, and that's the part I'm excited about.
yep. And
So,
the only reason why I believe Xbox even has the 9.99 is because, or both even Xbox and PlayStation go for the 9.99 price range,
uh
is
huh.
because they also already have their Xbox Gold and PlayStation Plus fees on top of it. So
Mm-hmm.
technically for Xbox Game Pass, you're technically paying $20 a month because you have to have your subscription
And you have
for
to have gold.
online, and you have to have the Xbox Games Pass. So you're technically paying $20 services. You're just not seeing it immediately because it's being broken in half. So again, I
Yeah,
believe, and fairly, I would say $15 a month. That would be a fair price for this.
fair enough. So we already did go ahead and post this over on our Facebook group because I was too excited when I found out about the news. And I was like, it's all here. And I started posting things. So
It's like,
if you
no,
have,
May
in fact,
1st,
you
May
know what?
1st.
Here's something that I probably should have prepared before the show because smart hosts do that. But this host totally lost. But realistically, I'm going to see if I can find it real quick because we actually had some comments on it from people over on our Facebook group. Now, if you haven't checked out our Facebook group, that's over at facebook.com/ Gaming Dad 101. I believe, if I recall correctly, it's somewhere around the bottom here. If you're watching over on the YouTube video, that address is down there. So we had some comments. Let me see. The very first comment that we had was from actually one of my dear personal friends, Rafi or Lorenzo. More competition is a good thing, but I would never get this. I don't care too much for the idea of just streaming a game and would much rather have a physical copy. And then we have Rob from our friend over from Bits for You. So his line of questioning is, so this thing doesn't have a box. It's up in the sky. I was like, no box, and yes. Then he goes,
It's in the
until I
clouds.
get 1 gigabyte per second download, I'm not getting into cloud gaming. I like to own media. Oh wait, this game is released and now offending some Socceroo, and Google removes the game from their service. Now I'm effed out of luck. I can't play it. No thanks, and F Google. So he clearly has heavy thoughts on Google that are shared only by him. Google, we love you. Um, but yeah, no, I mean it's he. I understand his frustration. I understand like him and I, because of the whole podcasting that we do, him and I have had discussions over, and one of the things that we talked about is how do we podcast, with hosts that are not next to you, and then the whole concept of recording a show and trying to avoid technical difficulties, trying to avoid latencies, trying to avoid all this because the internet in some areas is not what it should be. I have 1 gig internet service, but there's other people who don't. I mean, Ricky, do you get 1 gig internet where you're at?
Nowhere near.
And
I'm not.
we're in the same
Yeah.
city. Ricky and I live about 15 minutes away from each other, and I get better internet service than him. So that's one of the things that's going to be challenging from a perspective of streaming, and that's what I'm very much looking forward to see how it works. Um, everything so far, even people that were on slower connections were happy with the test that they did for Assassin's Creed Odyssey for the Google streaming test. So it looks promising. It sounds very promising. I'm very much looking forward to the final product. And we're, of course, going to talk about it on this show as soon as it does. So stay tuned for that. Now, before we go into the show, because we're running a little bit late and I do got to go for the evening, Ricky, is there anything that you would like to go ahead and share? I hate to wrap it up, but yeah, I looked at the time. We got to go.
No, this week I recommend Captain Marvel if you haven't seen it.
Sweet. All right. Now, I did want to cover, and I should have probably covered it up in the house cleaning, but we missed that section. Let's cover it now. We've had some interest in the Gamer on the Street reviews. Now, to clarification, the Gamer on the Street reviews, if you're interested in doing those, there are multiple key things. The two key things is we're looking for a review that is less up to, but no more than a minute long, and we're looking for the review to be sent over to us by Tuesday. Tuesday is always going to be the deadline because that's always when we do either recording or editing. So we need to make sure that those are in by Tuesday so we can put them on the show. If we don't get them by a Tuesday, unfortunately, they would be for next week's show. With that said, we did have some people that were interested in reviews for this week that unfortunately did not make that deadline. But I did want to put it out there. If you are a listener or you're a member of the Facebook group or you're watching us on YouTube, we are starting the Gamer on the Street reviews. That's for any of our listeners to go ahead and tell us about the games that they love. We're, of course, looking for the newer games, particularly our main focus and what we're most interested in are games that we ourselves may not be able to get to play or may not be interested in because we want our audience to be able to get different perspectives and see what you like. So if you're interested on that, hit me or Ricky up. With that, I'm going to use that as a segue as to how to get in touch with us. Follow us over on our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/GamingDad101. You can go ahead and follow us on Twitter. You can follow GeekEnd Cast. You can follow myself on Twitter at ViskZen, and you can follow Ricky at PickyGamerDad. You can see those underneath our names right here on the YouTube video. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this week. We will see you next Wednesday.
Luego.